Hello everyone and welcome to another, finally, game of StarCraft 2. It's finally happened, guys. I finally got around to doing a game again. Apologies for this. It has been far too long. I fully acknowledge this. I am the Greener. Welcome back for those of you who've stuck around. Thank you. I don't know why you've done this. And today we are going to be bringing a game from the latest HomeStoryCup. This one was semi-finals, quarterfinals, I can't remember exactly. Apologies. Yes, I believe it was quarterfinals. But it may have been semis. It is between none other than everyone's favorite Italian Zerg. It is Reynor. Yeah, that transition went smooth, didn't it? And on the other side, we have ShoWTimE. Pretty standard start here for these two. Just getting our warp gate slightly late. I'm going to guess that is due to the Stargate coming up. Yep, sure is. Front door, Adept coming out. Nexus finishing up right as the Zerg starts his third. I swear this game is completely fair, as a couple of Zerglings just having a bit of a peek around the map. Having a look for see if ShoWTimE has decided to use game one as the perfect time to go and hide some things in the corners of the maps. I mean, it's always doable on every map. Gresvin's, I feel, might be a little bit more obvious in some points where they try to hide your stuff, but either way, Zergling is first blood, I believe. Yes, first blood to ShoWTimE. Let's see if he manages to turn that Zergling kill into a map-leading advantage. As the Overlord is taking the... Oh, never mind. He was taking the, if I stay very still, he can't see me approach. However, the Oracle forces him off of the pill. Gives the Stalker the targeting information to force him off the pillar. That's what we'll go with. Meanwhile, two Adepts just forcing some Zerglings away, allowing ShoWTimE to get his third up. Reynor just takes those Zerglings home. He wants nothing to do with that. Oracle has been spotted, of course, and that means that the Spore Forest begins. None down in his main yet, but he's got 3 queens now? No, just 2. Yeah, 3 queens now instead. So, yeah, not too much threat of that there. Apologies. These Oracles will now head back on in and promptly turn around. Half expected to see a revelation there, but nothing to be seen. Meanwhile, Reynor going for a little bit of a counter. Is he? No, he decides against it. Not quite sure what he saw that made him decide that was a bad idea. Seemed like a pretty good one to me, but regardless. Oracles fly in, get 2 drones for a little bit of hull damage. Obviously, worth it overall, but probably hoping to get a little bit more than that done. Excuse me. Meanwhile, will the counterattack actually happen this time, or will Reynor... Looks like... Oh, no, he's not scared of the rocks. He will continue on in. And there's no huge amount here at home. He's going to start working on this Stalker. The Oracles, I assume, get... Yep. Brought back. Stalker goes down. But Adept does warp in behind it. Few Zerglings die. Gonna need a little bit more than that to burst through that wall, unfortunately. Oh, my mistake. Meanwhile, one Oracle almost went down. And, no more drones went down. They got a few Zerglings on the way out. That's where all those losses are from. Meanwhile, a drop. Got a couple of Archons heading out. How's the tech looking for both sides? So we've got Templar Archives, but no, nothing more advanced than a Stargate or a Robo Bay on the Protoss side. Meanwhile, hope you like Zerglings and Roaches. However, interestingly, it does look like we are going for the Roach build in this one. And this is going to be reasonably effective against these Archons. Not the most they can do about all of that, and they kill some creep tumors and are forced away. Basically the end result. They do get revealed, but that's not the end of the world anymore. It's not really something you can keep up permanently. Meanwhile, looks like the Archon drop's going to sweep in from the bottom, while the Oracles fly through creep on the top side. Probably hoping to drag some Queens up north there, and well, it doesn't really look like it's succeeded so far. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, ShoWTimE flies on in. The Archons will get distracted by the Queen for a moment. The drones run away, and everybody's a bit busy to really deal with that very much. Meanwhile, another push through the middle. Observer spotting out all the creep tumors, and that is a lot of creep tumors. And he's happy with his deforestation efforts and will make a move on back. Meanwhile, a couple of Overlords get very badly scared by those Archons. Those must have been very close to the ground. Archons do not have much range. Yeah, ShoWTimE sees that Reynor is waiting for him to drop those Archons. Excuse me. In at home. And has discovered the bold new strategy of simply not. I hope that my opponents never learn this bold strategy. Although I think me learning the strategy of actually having units prepared is probably better. Regardless. Bit of an engage here. Charge lots, making them way into these roaches, but getting cut down. Ooh, okay. I thought the disruptors had obviously on a different hotkey gone too far ahead. Yep, that's definitely going down. There's a disruptor for free there. It's definitely not part of the plan. Lurkers beginning... Sorry, not Lurkers. Although, considering Hydras are being built, Lurker tech may be on its way. The Vipers on the way out now. Does finally kill one of those Oracles. That harass proving to be very annoying. As now, just picking off a few charge lots. Really not many roaches dying here. Very well done, and yep, just the zoning disruptor there. That is a lot of Archons. Nice pull on the Zealot there. That's definitely the target he was going for. I think it's fair to say. There's so many Archons. Does pull in the Archon, but honestly, that just gets him in range. Zealots continuing to put in some really good pressure here. As... Whoop, Disruptor gets yanked in. Cancels its animations. Meanwhile, the 8... Ooh, good pull in on that Warp Prism. Gets taken down, so does the Disruptor. Yes, these 8 Archons continue to be a rather large problem for Reynor here. Lurker's not going to be the easiest things to go into either. Although he is getting Lurker Burrow. Don't believe any Lurkers are on the way yet, unless I've missed something. No Lurkers yet. He's waiting to get some of those upgrades before he commits to that tech. Probably a good idea, considering ShoWTimE has shown he is willing to use the... Yep, that Oracle finally gets dealt with rather handily. Does manage to get a capture on an Archon there. Yanks in a Disruptor as well. That's always a nice pickup to get. As this 4th base of ShoWTimE is looking a little bit threatened here. The cannons gonna force away any poking efforts. Meanwhile, Zealot attacking the, I don't know, 5th odd base of Reynor on the other side. Zerglings do run in and shut down any attempt at a 5th over here for ShoWTimE. However, they do all die rather horribly for their trouble. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE preparing for a drop, and actually just a rather large run by as well. This probably won't get much done considering the absolute forest of spores being built there. Does spot about 15 lurkers being built, so I think those disruptors are also going to be going down very, very soon. Meanwhile, on the top side, Roaches microwing away from the Zealot Archon ball. Couple of Immortals in there for good luck too. However, I think the vast majority of the damage done is also going into double Spire as well. Which, again, has been spotted by this drop. These 2 Lurkers will clean this up eventually, however, not before some trouble for the Protoss. The low-ground siege of the 4th base will continue. The Nidus Worm does get spotted just in time. 1 Lurker does manage to get out of it to cause some problems. And carriers as well have been built, have been spotted. The continue warping, building Nidus Worms tactic continues as storms deal look like quite a hefty chunk of damage there in the middle. The Lurkers continue being a problem. Nidus Worms continue being built, forcing ShoWTimE to warp in at home, which he appears to have forgotten to do this time, actually. Oh, never mind. Here they come. And that Lurker will buy enough time for no units to come out of that. However, it does buy enough time for some massive storms to connect across these Lurkers. However, oh no, he doesn't have any detection. Where's his observers? Okay, the revelation finally comes in, but those... Okay, that was a rather large amount of Archons. A lot of units dying there for Reynor. However, the economic damage was done behind it. These Nidus Worms continue popping up everywhere. And this one, well, it hasn't been spotted, but personally I would recommend not using it. Oh, wait, never mind, he just ran away. Okay, yeah, no, they can... No armor upgrades yet for ShoWTimE. And that's, I think, quite relevant considering 3 attack on the other side. No one built armor. There has not been a single armor upgrade built yet. The first armor upgrade of the game is going to be Zerg Flyer Armor, which, yes, is very good against carriers, but also your other units are allowed to have... I know I say this as a Terran player, so I'm just used to everybody going, oh yeah, armor is the most important because Marines, and Terrans getting +1/+1 because I have Marines. Dear Lord, do they need upgrades? There might be amazing units, but they scale well. However, the sight of just no defensive upgrades until the almost 15-minute mark, well, simply put, I don't know whether to be terrified or impressed. Lurkers building in, well, bringing in carriers doesn't quite manage to finish him off the way that he'd like. The Archons and Templars making those Corruptors rather vulnerable. However, Jesus Christ, there's 10 Archons. And 5 High Templar. This just... I think one of the big problems Reynor's had in this game is he's just been unable to do anything to the Archon count. So, yes, so many Zealots have died this game. However, only 6 Archons have died, and he has built... And he, yeah, like I said, he had 10 of them a second ago. He might have lost 1 or 2. As the carriers, not the best at attacking into a Spore Forest. There's more Nidus Worms going down everywhere. The, yeah, Spore Forest continues building. Lurkers, turns out not terribly good against carriers. And... well, this many Archons is just difficult for anything to deal with, really. As queens live for a little bit. The spore forest here is making things difficult to deal with, as I discovered that my camera has died. Apologies for that one. I hope that didn't happen too long ago. Yeah, this Sky Tiles ball is getting to be a problem. And there's only 2 Vipers at this point in time. It probably needs more stuff, I guess. He is maxed out, and it feels like he doesn't have enough of anything. Probably not even drones. As well, that problem is being somewhat sorted with Storm there. Now, Swim at the top side has been spotted. He's got one at the bottom side has been spotted as well. Honestly, at this point, I feel like these Nidusworm's jobs is to just go around and force ShoWTimE to pull back and deal with them. And no units are ever actually going to come out of it. It's like the spotter. They're like when a Terran or a Protoss start scattering supply depots and pylons around the map. They're spotter. As those queens, yeah, they're not going to last long. Not the best storm there. However, a lot of those are. The Archons not dealing very much damage to the Corruptors there, actually. A lot of these carriers are taking tense amounts of damage. The push towards the base does continue. However, it is almost mined out at this point, so it's not the most valuable base in the world. Corruptors now have 2-2, which is going to make things difficult. Plus 2 attack now for the carriers as well will negate at least the armor part of that, however. The shield upgrade's finally coming in as well, so ShoWTimE has not forgotten the concept of defense. Completely, at least. Only somewhat. As ShoWTimE. Another push back. Still being forced away. There's a lot of Hydras there, and I think that deals with this quite well. That Immortal is not long for this world. Probably will manage to take a Hydra with it, just because Immortals are like that. The kiting away continues here. Corruptors trying to find an angle. Archon splitting off to engage them. There's more Zealots and a couple of other Archons pushing in. A couple of nice Storms. Doesn't quite get the damage he wanted off of them, initially at least. The follow-up Storms do seem to do pretty well. All the carriers go down. Hydra's forcing their way through the Zealots, the Archons, the Templar. And has he possibly managed to do it here? He has about a 40 supply lead here, and almost all of that is army. However, Reynor does not want to push his luck, will instead put his Nidusworm down in the middle of the probe line, where honestly those probes that are there could probably kill it. ShoWTimE is going to try and do a run by at the same time. This Nidusworm will go down. Nothing's coming out. There's nothing loaded into it. And pops one down on the high ground here instead. That will probably be useful to Zergling run-bys later on. However, I'm not sure Zergling run-bys need it, although it could be hilarious bossman the Hydras and Roaches out behind the army there. Yeah, this Lurker is... Does Reynor feel like he has too much money? Is that why he's putting down all of these... this base is still a decent number of minerals at this base. Nexus, unfortunately, not quite in range to be dealt with there. Feedback does go down on the Viper, but this carrier will be picked off, and I believe that is currently the last carrier as... Jeez, what's the income graph like? Okay, that's the income advantage graph. That's not really what I'm looking for. If you look at the income, it's still pretty decent. As this base will go down. It was almost already mined out anyway. There was no gas left. Only a couple of hundred minerals. Not the end of the world for Reynor to lose that one. The losing the lava production is a much bigger deal than the mining there. However, that's a lot of lurkers dealing a lot of damage to absolutely everything. They've got some corrupted cover as well, so they can't just be picked off from the air. As he will clean up this base. And will evacuate via Nidus Worm. This is the most... That's almost StarCraft 1 levels of using your Nidus Worms. As Zerglings take a fair bunch of damage from the storm, but don't hang around for long enough to die. As Archon, however, does a lot of damage. And honestly could probably survive a Zerglings round on its own at this point. However, Reynor. Wow, if you just kept like one or two of those lurkers back around, that could have been hilarious as the Zealots found the worst angle to attack ever. Reynor, now, spotting the fact that he has complete air control, and ShoWTimE is building an army made almost entirely of Zealots, not quite, but almost, is gone for... Well, there's a bunch of lurkers here, so there's those. But also, not over here, as the Corruptors take down that by pissing on it. Broodlords, there we are. That's going to force some air units out of ShoWTimE, I imagine. They tend not to be particularly easy to deal with otherwise. Yes, and the Tempests begin. The Tempests are quite good at dealing with Broodlords, so... Oh... Yeah, ShoWTimE, you do not have the army for that. As he just looked at that Protoss army, and his Zealots are now on about 10 HP. About half of them. Meanwhile, he puts down the Nexus before dealing with the Corruptors. I'm not entirely sure what the plan was there. He warps in a singular Stalker. This will definitely show off all of those Corruptors. Meanwhile, this base is looking a mite exposed, and this base doesn't look much easier to hang on to. Some good storms there do prevent Reynor from establishing a forward position here that he would need to take down this Nexus as things stand. ShoWTimE does continue heading for the top right here now. There are some lurkers here to defend, but I don't think that's going to be... Okay, I said that wasn't going to be a huge amount more than a speed bump. And to some extent it won't be. However, they did pay for themselves there and held up the attack long enough that the Oracles had to come up. Does throw away his Corruptors and a few other units there. 11 drones go down. Meanwhile, Corruptors just reiterating that that base is not allowed to happen. The Storms basically kill everything on the ground that belongs to Reynor. Lurkers, at this point, are being absolute nuisances as they drag in the... Basically everything that flies. Decided not to drag in ground units, considering it doesn't have anything that shits down incredibly well. And honestly, most of the things that if you dragged in would probably deal more damage before they died. Yes. These Zealots, do your job and defend from the Nidus. This Nidus one might be a problem. There's all the chaos going on this game. ShoWTimE does not currently know about it. And... Lurkers get out. That is a large number of Lurkers all over the production line. Which, if you didn't know, is a very bad thing. Yeah, and then he just pops back into the nice one. Oh man, those Templar would have been juicy if he had still been there. Large number of Corruptors now. That's plenty enough to deal with any Tempests that are out. However, that is exactly one Tempest and one Oracle that they can currently shoot. Although I guess they make a good hit. We've seen them make a good hit squad for all of the various Nexi around. So, another push into the bottom side. Lurkers, Roaches, and Hydras. Very much keeping with its composition. Is that the last air unit, Protoss air unit dead? No, there is still one Oracle. However, Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not quite sure why he's shaving away from this so much. Probably... I'd have been very tempted to try and sack those roaches to take down that Nexus. Probably wouldn't have worked. Probably a bad idea. But ShoWTimE has so few mining bases at the moment that despite the length of this game, it feels like it's almost heading for low economy at the moment, considering that does just about manage to hold into that base there. However, Reynor is currently sitting on 47 drones and is showing no sign of really being able to use most of those. Really wants to try and get this base down, and maybe this will be the next major point of contention on the map. However, really losing control of the top side of the map if he does go for that. As... whoa, some massive storms across everything there. Not quite enough, as I completely botched the camera controls for that battle. I apologize. And... well, Reynor will come out ahead in that battle, but I wouldn't exactly call it a one-sided romp. And with the units warping in here, yeah, that base is really low. It is... yeah, okay. I think trying to kill the Nexus there was just right-clicking on the Nexus definitely would have been a better choice than trying to take the fight. Considering it got down to 30 HP. However, does not fall. And the Archons, the High Templar, continue to be a major problem. So a few Zerglings. Just everything, everywhere, all at once, I think, is probably the name of the game for this one. Reynor deciding that the top half of the map is where he's going to try to absolutely assert control. And ShoWTimE rocking up and performing a freedom of navigation exercise. And discovering that he does not, in fact, have freedom to navigate the top half of the map. Reynor thoroughly disagreeing with that one. Whoa, shoot. Sorry. Large numbers of stuff in the middle. However, not quite able to push all the way through. Probably would love to have an observer right now to try and clean out some of this creep. Something Reynor has not managed to get a lot of. Okay, I think he needs to do something with a lot of these Corruptors. I'm not saying they need to die, but there is definitely better things that could be done with that supply, I think, at this point in time. Although, interestingly, ShoWTimE is currently building Air Attack 3 for his single Oracle. That doesn't seem like the best use of his resources right now, as all of those units in the middle get cleaned up. However, this Zealot attack will do decently. Excuse me. Big push into the middle here. We'll clean up the Evo chamber that I honestly think is probably done. No, there is an armor upgrade. Oh, and melee upgrades. Not very many Zergling upgrades here for... ooh, getting the Hydra Den would be relevant. It's not exactly a spawning pool in it versus Terran, but that's still an important tech structure. You can't build more Lurkers if you can't build more Hydras. And okay, that's why he's not sending him into main. There's already a bunch of Zealots tearing apart the main. Storms stopping the push in. As Reynor is completely cut off from his main here now. However, ShoWTimE probably can't afford to lose this army. So, real game of chicken here. ShoWTimE wants to try and deal damage to Clem's base, but he also doesn't want to get locked in there. Although maybe recalling out might be able to work. That's a lot of Corruptors. Stalkers blink forward. I think they cleaned out a Broodlord. Lurkers gonna make things a bad time for those Zealots. Zerglings are gonna make things a good time for those Zealots, as they get to have a lovely nom. Yeah, not the worst stasis trap, not the best. pretty big storm. This lurker is not detected, and it is... Well, yeah, it's causing a problem. As a lot of the tech for Reynor is actually dead at this point in time. However, a few things, such as spawning pool, still alive. Corruptors are currently going with the, well, just destroy all, piss on all the Nexi. Reynor loses the spawning pool. Currently has a lurker den and an infestation pit. What other buildings does he have? That is it. Currently, the only units that Reynor can build, unless I am mistaken, are Vipers, Infestors, and Swarm Hosts. He can no longer upgrade any remaining Hydras that he has. And he is building a spawning pool, he is building a Hydra nest. He's going to lose the Hive here in a second. That's not the end of the world. Or will he lose the Hive? No, it looks like he will probably hang on to the Hive here. Those Arch... Oh no, never mind. That Archon is going to live. That Archon will have enough... if he remembers to turn around, that might actually be able to kill the Hive there. In the meantime... Reynor doing his best to return the favor to ShoWTimE's economy, however... Few outlying bases going down is not quite the same as the Zerg losing literally everything for building units. He lost his spires as well, but I don't think ShoWTimE really has the money to try and make an air switch again. Definitely not a big enough one to deal with the 10 corruptors that are still around. Was it 9 corruptors? 12 corruptors, in fact, there are in total. Yeah, that base is dead. He does not have enough to deal with that. However, Reynor is currently able to build Zerglings and Hydralisks, and he is mostly building Zerglings. Oh, the Lurk is coming so close to going down, and if they had, maybe the fight would have gone differently as Reynor runs past all the Lurkers. Meanwhile, in the bottom left, the Corruptors continue being an absolute just pain in the backside to deal with. Stalkers will be able to force them away here before the Nexus goes down. The Corrosive Biles proving to be a massive nuisance. In the meantime, Zerglings existing. Zealot run by beats Zergling run by. Zealot run by wins. However, Zergling run by isn't much closer to the base, so Lurkers plus Zerglings defeat Zealots. The Corruptors of Reynor continue their just patrols around the map, keeping an eye on what's happening. As I'm gonna guess there was another Corruptor down here. Just missed that for you, unfortunately. The Overlord will be forced away and, in fact, die, which is not relevant yet, but maybe at some point. As I feel like most of the time I take this as my 4th base, and which is probably a mistake, by the way. As Reynor picks up the base that is approximately 12 meters away from ShoWTimE. And the Corruptors will fly in and begin trying to deal with some of ShoWTimE's tech. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't do this earlier. I feel like it could have been a very strong move. In the meantime, ShoWTimE is pushing up the center. That tree did never... The Nexus... Hive did never go down. This force is just going to pick off some exposed bases. In the meantime, Corruptors have so far not been challenged. Taking down a gateway or two. There are some probes going down somewhere. An attack on this base here. ShoWTimE not really appreciating Reynor having that one. However, Reynor will reinforce his rights to mine from those particular mineral patches. and will in fact have something to say about ShoWTimE's gateway placement, including the gateways that ShoWTimE has placed in his own base. Reynor feeling that those really don't belong there, and the Zerglings will attack the front door. They will get forced away before they deal critical damage. I won't say significant, because they did deal significant damage. The Corruptors decide that they have in fact had enough. I think they got F2'd away there, which honestly was probably the wrong call. They were doing a lot of work there, and are not going to help against this. Unless you turn them into Broodlords, which, hey, what do you know? No greater spire. ShoWTimE is slowly managing to strangle down Reynor. Only a few lurkers left. And even fewer bases, as Reynor has been enforced into the top side of the map. ShoWTimE just running around, killing bases, making sure that there won't be any extra lava able to be built from if Reynor manages to scrape together the money to spend it. However, these lurkers continue to be a problem. ShoWTimE does continue to mine from a few spots around the map. Not a huge number of minerals left on the map at this point. Some of those bases that got abandoned, yeah, to the point where ShoWTimE is stealing some of the minerals that got left over when Reynor elected not to retake his own third. Or no, that one might have been the fourth, but you get the point. Another gateway goes down. A couple of Stalkers finally walked in to do something about all of that. It's very interesting the way that neither army can really take the other in a straight fight. Feels incredibly weird to say, but whoever attacks loses currently with the way the armies are set up. A few more gateways going down for ShoWTimE at this umpteenth base location. Zergling's just making a run for it at this point. They can't really get much done now. And more... I can't even tell who the screws are being tightened in. I think they're being tightened in Reynor. Purely because this base is not all that far away from mining out. And then this is the last base that Reynor can feasibly mine from. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE has amassed this ball of units and still has a base. Okay, yeah, no. So I think the difference is that Reynor's bases are a lot more under threat. ShoWTimE's managed to corral Reynor into the top side of the map, and apart from a few Zergling runways, there's not much that Reynor can do about it. The Lurkers make this incredibly difficult to attack into. However, Psystorms kill drones just as effectively as they kill Lurkers. As such, enforce the repositioning as they all get revealed. There's no hiding for them at the moment. And yeah, these rocks, which featured earlier today as the staging point for Reynor's counterattack, is now going to be opened up. Ooh, picks off a couple of observers there. That's kind of a big deal. ShoWTimE, oh, maybe not. ShoWTimE is maxed out now. There's a lot of lurkers, and we've got a lot of lurkers in both locations. It's very difficult to attack Reynor right now. However, Reynor can't really do much attacking. He's got a lot of minerals, but okay, that was the last. Well, the base going down there is a problem. It's not critical damage, but it's not good. That puts him down to basically one Nexus worth of mining. Zerglings did get into the main and cause a large amount of damage. However, they didn't hit any of the important tech. ShoWTimE is restarting the carrier production. And considering the small number of Corruptors left, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think that is a very strong move. They will handily deal with those lurkers. And ShoWTimE? Oh, it has reached the point in the game where probes become a legitimate attacking unit. Losing... Okay, yeah, no, lost a bunch of overlords now as well. He's losing all of his tech. It's really do or die time now for Reynor, and he might lose to losing all of his buildings. He's about to lose all of his the last remaining dregs of his economy now. To just overwhelming fire. There is absolutely nothing he can do about that particular death ball. He is going to try and hold the line here in the middle of the map. However, I'm kind of not sure what that's meant to achieve, to be honest with you. His last remaining hatchery is his original one still. So props for that, I guess. Reynor does find a fight where it looks like he's going to be able to clean up the 2 carriers that went down. These... Oh, we are actually going to see the base trade. Excellent. As ShoWTimE makes his way across the map. Lurker's deal a lot of damage, but I don't think they can kill all of this and then get back down here in time to deal with this before all of this dies. This is his last hatchery. He does have money for more, and he does have a couple of drones. Unfortunately, he got spotted doing that, so not quite able to hide those. Everything here will die. That's a given at this point. And honestly, I think Reynor is probably kind of given up at this point. This hatchery will go down. Yep, GG. Aw, Reynor, you should have stayed. You still had... Oh, did that extractor go down? Hang on. Okay, that extractor did go down. Did he... I want to see the timing on this. Did he lose all of his buildings? Yes! We saw a defeat by elimination. Excellent. As that was one hell of a game 1. And I guess it will be... This is the part where I fix my camera and then head on to game 2. So I will see you all soon. We hit game 2 now, and... Well, after that absolute marathon of a match, we have some more action here. This time on altitude. And contrary to almost every other game I've casted with a marathon match, it is not immediately followed by cheese. Which is a great thing, because that means you'll have enough time to go down to hit the like and subscribe buttons and tell me about all of the great things in that match that you saw in another cast that I missed out on. Due to my terrible map work. Observing, that's what they call it. As English continues to be the easiest language for native speakers to speak. As we all find that one German guy who speaks it far better than we do. It's like, whenever like someone from Northern Europe says, oh, I speak a little English, yeah, that means they speak better than you do. As ShoWTimE continues to be an absolute pest with this probe. We'll have to see if he continues making... Well, yeah, basically just see how long he sticks around for. As spawning pool, I'm guessing that's out there to spot for like oracles flying in. That's actually, I don't know where I've never thought of anything like that. Probably one of the reasons why these guys are pros and I am not. As queens begin, drones are built. Nexus is about 2/3 completed. Cybercore finishing up, and we see the first Protoss unit built. Always amuses me sometimes the difference between, you know, Zerg, Terra, and Protoss. Because you got Zerg, it's just like, I will not build a single attacking unit until they are at my doorstep, and then I will build a flood. Or the Protoss, yeah, I got like an adept eventually, and then built 15 gateways before I built another unit. Versus the Terran, I must frantically never stop building or I will die. Excuse me. As we begin the waiting game now, as quite frankly, nothing is going to happen until this oracle pops out, so I'm just going to sit here and look at it. And completely fail to come up with anything witty to say, because yeah, it's one of those games. Zergling on each watchtower, and yay, we have an oracle, and Stalker moving out with it. They will take a moment just to clear out the watchtower. Sorry, not the watchtower, the pillar in the middle of the map. I would not be at all shocked if you then proceeded to work on the pillars. Really, Reynor, you're gonna make this take even longer. It's going to... Yeah, like... Sure, it took a little bit longer to die. You got some shield damage done on that Stalker, but... Is it really worth you? Like, even at your level, was that worth your attention? Let's just do this, it'll be easier. Probably less likely to give you all seasickness. The Queen Brigade will... The Bridge League will say no to those oracles, as predicting the future is illegal in Bridge. I don't know if you guys know that. Queens. Just keeping everyone away. Meanwhile, Zerglings. I don't know exactly how this works out. Like, obviously I see why it works. But in terms of how many Zerglings that can kill before they die, I have absolutely no idea. I suspect it is a rather large number, though, as Reynor showing no particular desire to run in there. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE continues probing up. Stalker in the wall. Yeah. 2 probes die. Woo! I'm pretty sure the only kills these oracles have are those one Zergling. As a matter of fact, we can check. Yes. 2 Zerglings have died. Intense action. Oh, an Overlord did as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. Ooh, 2 probes. And... oh, Oracle might go down here, actually. No, it does just about manage to get those out, but... Zerglings continue to... they're doing the most they can, which is attack the workers moving across. Going to have another double Archon drop here from ShoWTimE. He is pushing out with this as well. Just about missing the Zergling run by there. I don't think either of them saw each other. That is going to get into the third, and that is going to deal some major damage before that shield battery finishes. Good couple of warp ins there. Does force those Zerglings away, especially with the 2 oracles hanging around. The... what do they call it? Adept Zealot Archon push. Does decide against the attack now. The, rather large queen count. Having something to say about that. Those Zealots do take down those Zerglings. Not quite sure what the cancel and rebuild was about there. Maybe he wants to build a gateway wall and it wasn't quite going to cover it or something? Potentially? Regardless, oracles are moving across now. Will we finally see ShoWTimE get some damage done? Because He really does need to at some point. Yeah, it's just being forced away, and one of those oracles now has 7 health. Probably gonna have to sit in the back of the base here for a little while. Okay, recalls them out. I believe that gets spotted. So, if Reynor was paying attention, he knows he no longer needs to worry about that. Area! Ah, yes, I'm guessing that was the reason for the cancel, because I think he moved it 1 square over. So he probably couldn't get his gateway wall off with the position that it had been in. Meantime, a lot of static defense going down. ShoWTimE really hasn't gotten any damage done this game, so... And... this... is a lot of Zerg units. This is going to be a bit of a problem. Building, yep. So just gonna, I imagine, push in here, roll the banelings in. Only managed to get very small amounts with any of his traps, disruptors, static defense. These are still Archons though, and these are not units really well designed to kill Archons. The shield battery overcharge also a major issue there. The Queen's pushing out into the middle of the map. They're a bit far extended there for what they can really do, as you can't transfuse while you're off a creep, which is somewhat problematic. I wonder if you can technically lava inject while off a creep. I don't see how that would ever happen. Observer sees the banelings. Much more aggressive build here from Reynor in this one. However, it also had a lot less damage dealt to him. ShoWTimE, not really in position here. Just going to try and... is he going to try and burst down the gateways? Does burst one down, and then discovers that it is filled with an Archon. And you can eventually kill it. Okay, yeah, no, all those gateways have gone down. The... one. So a couple of probes die. But very much not much damage done. Killing the wall there, I think, was the most important thing, because that makes the next push into that area a lot easier. Or he could try to attack from the top here. Basically, ShoWTimE has entered that stage of the game that I love watching him in, which is called Frantically Don't Die. As does manage to get some counter damage done up here, but I don't think he really killed any drones. Only 3 drones have died this game. That is a problem. And he really didn't manage to force much of a response in the early game either. So, ShoWTimE not in a great spot here. He's not been able to build up. He's got so many minerals, but zealots are really not what he needs against this army. Doesn't get the disruptor hit he was looking for. Disruptors are going to wander forward. It's massive baneling hits on these probes. Disruptors are just going to march into the middle of Reynor's army. The Archons are going to beat everything back, and that is a rather large number of Archons. As nothing quite happening in the bottom side. That gateway is unpowered, which is unfortunate. Not critical, but not part of the plan, I'll put it that way, as no notice went at this stage. I suppose that's really not necessary when you're the one with full map control and pinning the Protoss back here. However, 4-base Protoss is very strong, so you have to do a little bit more than just pin them on 4 bases. As does manage to kill a gateway, but that is almost like unbottling this, like just unbottling the cork in the bottle of Protoss champagne as all of the Archons stream out. However, good surround here. Disruptor Shot's just not getting the hits they need in this one. Amazing splits here from Reynor. He does kill off a few zealots and not get a huge amount more done here. ShoWTimE doing a very good job of holding him back here, but not really able to advance his game state very much, if that makes sense. He's surviving, but he's not really managing to establish himself or his game plan on the map, on the game, pretty much at all. This is all Reynor's push. It's almost feels like it's just a matter of time. We're just waiting for Reynor to finally find the chink in ShoWTimE's armor that will allow him and this attempt to get a 5th base might well be it, as Reynor spreading his army around, forces the cancel, probably get a few zealots, maybe even a few probes here as well. 86 drove. Jeez, how does he have 86 probes with this? Ooh, big hits, baneling hits on the disruptors. The good disruptor hits as well. Banelings, however, are not going to deal well against 13 Archons. We'll have to see if that's unlucky 13 here for ShoWTimE. As Reynor is pushing. Forced away. He is forced away. Reynor gets in, forces another cancel, and this is going to be the problem in many ways. Is can ShoWTimE defend up here and establish this base, and then also swing all the way down here if he needs to? He's decided to preempt this strategy, this problem, by getting into the 3rd base with these 3+3 attack zealots. The Archons are going to trade quite well against these roaches. Disruptor gets a couple of hits. The Archon count has been severely whittled down there, and that was really what he needed. He's got zealots running all over the place now. These will eventually get cleaned up. The banelings roll home, and zealots are something banelings deal with very well. However, disruptors not getting brilliant attacks. He might be able to kill this gold base, which, never mind. Reynor's Rube Goldberg base does stay up, as, ooh, that disruptor, I think, yeah, if we call it +1 roach, -1 zealot, that probably sums up that one. As, he gets on top of the Archons warping in here, forces the cancel once again, and I'm not entirely certain. Main is almost mined out. The 2nd is about halfway there. Not looking too pretty at the 4th either. Sorry, the 3rd. Which one's the 3rd? Okay, the 3rd is half mined out. The 4th is getting there. And Reynor really managing to push in here. New roach is caught in the stasis trap, but I'm not sure that's going to be quite enough. Battery overcharge is available. However, these gateways are all going to get forced down. The corrosive biles landing across the army. Disruptor really just not getting enough there. And managing to push Reynor back a little bit. The Warp Prism Micro is doing a lot of work. Disruptor pushes back a little bit more. However, with 112 supply to 180 odd, I think ShoWTimE might be almost done here. That is it. Types GG. We head to game 3. Tied up 1 apiece. We return once again. I know for you it has been exactly 10 seconds, give or take. And for me it has been several minutes as I've tried to get my recording and make sure everything's recording correctly. You know, YouTube stuff. Regardless, we return to Royal Blood. A map that has produced some good games. Not my favorite one on the current roster, but apparently more favored for these two than Ancient System and Near Humanity. So, we have a game. Swear to God, ShoWTimE, ShoWTimE is... This probe is actually, no, it's not what I hate on the ladder. Because I play Terran, so this probe is attacking the guys trying to build my bloody barracks. Seriously, trying to chase off the bloody open micro probe killing your builders is just annoying. Regardless. Okay, so yes, you went for the, proceed directly to your third. Do not place a hatchery. Do not pass go. Do not place a hatchery. Excuse me. ShoWTimE, not going for the cannon rush follow-up to that particular build. And probably going to be slightly faster speed here. If I wasn't mistaken, Reynor put a little bit extra onto gas for this one. Or a little bit earlier, more to the point. Overlord flies in and confirms that things aren't exactly too different over here. Does spot the... Rain is good enough to notice that Warp Gate is delayed in this case. And in this case, it is so that the Stargate can go down. Almost always is, especially at this level. Lower levels, you might see someone put down a robo or something, but not really going to see that at this stage. Depth is going to make its way across, try and take advantage of the fact that the second base of the Protoss isn't really where it's meant to be, so it might be able to split up these Zerglings a little bit. Yep. Depth appears back over the other side. 6 Zerglings, an extra pair of Zerglings versus Protoss. I know it would be against Terran. Ultimately, not the biggest deal in the world whether you've got 4 Zerglings or 6. And the second Adept are going to make Reynor very glad that he got an extra one. As pair of Zerglings. Getting a good scout off here. Getting a good eye on everything happening. Noticing ShoWTimE has still not put down any extra gateways. Or is this... That's lazy ShoWTimE. That is annoying ShoWTimE. Does manage to clean that Adept up without too much loss. The bases are not linked yet, so that's going to make things a little bit awkward for these queens to try and properly cover. Ooh, good getting that Spore Crawler. Only manages to get the one. Drone, sorry. Does continue the Spore Crawlers. Or at least some of them. Gonna put it out there and say that I feel that's a good decision. Ooh, doesn't quite manage to cap the Adept. To be fair, you can't really trap that Adept there considering the Oracles are there hovering overhead. Extra gas is going down. ShoWTimE. Flying across. This Queen is a little bit on its... never mind. It's not really on its own. There's a Spore Crawler there. I don't know what I'm talking about. The Dragoona, what planet are you on? I have 3 Oracles. They can't ignore that, but they can kind of focus down the Queens a little bit. Can definitely focus down drones, that's for sure. As the, this Overlord isn't even on this pillar. ShoWTimE, that's... ShoWTimE doesn't have a Stalker, does he? No, that is 5 Adepts, 4 Oracles. That is interesting. It is, however, pretty decent against Zerglings, especially at this stage of the game. Will push in. The bevy of drones in the main. Deciding to go for the Queen instead. Does not lose an Oracle for her. I thought he did. And gets 6 drones with that in the end. Not a bad bit of play there. Probably gonna recall those Oracles home, and in fact has lost basically all of the health on them. A couple of Adepts going down somewhere as well. I'm gonna suggest that he probably made a push on the third here, as Reynor's drone count is starting to look a little bit ridiculous. Fourth base going down. That's going to be saturated almost as soon as it builds. And then the flood will begin. And we will have to see if ShoWTimE is able to be prepared for it. It's definitely got some units, not incredible numbers. As a few more drones going down. I'm gonna say they came over here early. Yeah, just on the edge of the corpse. Moving back. Zerglings. We'll have a poke at the front, but I think as soon as they see that Adept, they're gonna decide that that's actually quite a terrible idea, really. And continue running away. Yeah, no, I would too. You really can't sit around that, especially with that number of sentries. However, this base you can cause some problems too. Splits the Zergling off to scout out when how quickly the army reacts. Does react quickly enough to protect the base. And Reynor will just run around. To be fair, ShoWTimE doing quite a similar thing with these oracles. Does spot the roaches starting to go down now. It's useful for ShoWTimE to confirm which direction that's going. Loses an oracle. That was... Jeez, it got 6 workers in all of that? That's impressive. As his oracles have done a lot of work. Like, they're not the best ever, but they've done a lot of what they were meant to do. And some actual phoenixes now. That's a decision. Not quite sure how he came to that conclusion. Is he going to try and run around and snipe overlords? As they might be able to pick up some of the roaches and ravagers, but they're not going to help against much of this Zerg army. It's not like it's a Terran where, okay, worst case, they start hitting the medevacs. As he is shaping up. Oh, that was a big hit in the end. That was a 13 kill disruptor. That immediately got an extremely good start to that. Gonna morph in a bunch of banelings now. Oh yeah, okay, he just runs into the third base and kills 13 workers, as you do. Is forced away from the fourth base, however, that's a hefty chunk of economic damage already done. And quite frankly, he's just getting started. Reynor makes his way back to the third base. Gets some Zerglings into the middle line. There are going to be enough Zealots and such to beat this back just about. Only 50 health remaining on that Nexus. The Disruptors are going to be in charge of, yeah, scaring the army away from that base. These Banelings are going to roll in here, and unless they are stopped... Okay, they are stopped. Do get a decent number of Zealots there, though. We're going to make sure he doesn't forget about them. Ah, yes. ShoWTimE, feeling the pressure, has done the ancient strategy of making Archons with all of those DTs he just morphed in. That's disappointing. The Baneling's doing a rather incredible job of duking out the hits from those Disruptors there. Not much dying in that one. These have seen some effective Disruptors, but a lot of that is negated by the fact that Reynor just has so much stuff that this really can't be dealt with. Not for long, as makes the distraction chart at the top. Disruptive shots go out, but don't quite get enough. 6 workers go down in total from that push. Not the world's most efficient trades here from Reynor, I don't feel. They are working. And he is getting chunks of army as well as the economy, of course. But mostly off the back of he has 5 bases and Reynor has 4, just about trying to get the 5th. And I would not be at all shocked to see Reynor put down a 6th base soon. The Banelings roll in, get on top of just about everything. Enough Banelings that they're even able to deal good damage to Archons. There's enough Roaches that they're even able to deal good damage to Immortals. Immortals don't deal the extra damage to Ravagers here. However, he has cleared up all the detection now, so there are any Dark Templar around. They could do some work. Corrosive Biles do not manage to take down the Phoenix. And that is a lot of Dark Templar. Just going to run her away from that particular shadow. Does manage to snipe off the Warp Prism, and with that, this particular push is going to head home. These DTs are going to clean up these Zerglings pretty well. Does manage to finish off that Immortal, which was a large amount at the point of all of that. And ShoWTimE, for all the damage his army took, he did manage to get that 5th base up. It is completed. It can start mining now. I imagine will be sending workers over there very soon. However, he now needs to defend it with his 57 army supply versus the 106 of Reynor. Archons are very good, and Roach Zergling is not very supply efficient. However, that is just a huge amount of stuff. Overlord speed finishes up now. And 7 Broodlords are on the way. The Greater Spire is complete. I missed that in all of the chaos. And once we get Vipers and Broodlords against this particular army with... Yeah. Oh, does manage to snaffle one of those Archons into that Warp Prism. Good grab there. He's not going to be able to grab that one. The Archons continue to get pushed into the middle of the Roach Ball. Corrosive Biles flying out. Landing hits. Not the best hits, but they are hits, and that's the important thing at this stage. Broodlords are making their way in. And Broodlords are going to be very difficult for this army to deal with, considering we have exactly 1 Blinkstalker over there. A bunch of Archons being the only other units that can shoot up. So ShoWTimE going for the only real play in his book here, counter-attacking while he warps in about 20-odd Stalkers. However, the Broodlords are just going to keep pushing. Send the rest of the army back to deal with the now much less effective army, now that's had to build so many Stalkers. Is going to lose the 5th base. However, not much is going to stop that 3rd base, 4th base, whichever it is at this point, from going down. Whole bunch of Stalkers blowing up there. I'm guessing there was Baneling run by I missed. Broodlords are going to make the way to the 5th on the other side. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE continuing to try and push in. He's got a lot of army, but he's just eating a large number of Corrosive Biles there. Obviously, microing on the other side of the map. Who can really blame him? Does get his Stalkers on top of the Broodlords. Looks like he will take those down eventually. However, all of his Stalkers and Archons on this side of the map are going to die. Yeah, with the extra warp in of Stalkers here, these Broodlords will eventually die. A whole bunch of Ravagers warping in. A huge number of Banelings morphing in. He is letting ShoWTimE know what's coming. Partially because I'm not entirely convinced it's going to matter very much. Okay, thank goodness ShoWTimE does actually move. That Warp Prism doesn't just kill an Archon. Doesn't get the worker kills. So many Banelings, he can just run around the Archons and just let them die. The Dark Templars just killed themselves. Roaches and Ravagers moving forward. They're going to deal with this army before they turn around to deal with that base. ShoWTimE having to retreat into the reinforcements. Does go down. And that will make it 2-1 to Reynor. We hit up game 4 now. Reynor looking to put ShoWTimE out of this. ShoWTimE hoping to keep his tournament hopes alive. And my voice hoping this is going to be a quick one, because we've had some very long and very intense games. As my auditions for Auctioneer, I don't think are going well. I don't think I can keep doing this, guys. If I had to do this more than, like, once a week. Oh boy. Ugh. In the meantime, Overlord, poking across, probe, having a bit of a gander. And, yeah, it takes a couple of minutes for things to happen. But that's StarCraft. We all know the million actions we're doing during all of this time when we're playing ourselves, and how first 2-3 minutes of a game feel a lot longer. Sorry, feel a lot shorter is what I mean to say there. As ShoWTimE obviously disagreeing with that opinion and having far too much time on his hands at this stage of the game. Checks down a second gas. Prepares to build a Stargate. I mean, I wonder if he'll get Warp Gate. Get Warp Gate straight away this game. I'm gonna throw it out there. I don't think he will. And this is about the first real... Okay, so the first decision point in the game is both players going, are they going to cheese? Second decision point of the game is ShoWTimE deciding that he is getting a Stargate. Which, honestly, at this point isn't really much of a decision. It's just build that lets you build up your economy, get a few units at home, get across the map, try and force some damage on the Zerg player without really suffering any real danger of anything at home. However, that does mean that since I don't have the benefits of a HomeStoryCup team to broadcast with me, yeah, not much happens for a little bit. The Adept goes across, has a look at what's going on, and is scared off by Queens and a couple of Zerglings. The story of the underbuildable rocks at the bottom of the ramp is always one that's somewhat amused me. My understanding is that it essentially happened because I think it was Protosses would go up to the Zerg base, build 3 pylons here, and then start building cannons behind it. And suddenly the Zerg couldn't get out of their base. Doesn't really work against Terran. But this, for me, this is made even more funny by the fact that the only people you ever see kill this are the Zerg. So it was built there for them, and they're the ones who don't like it. I'm not 100% sure on the logic, but I suspect it has to do with the way that in-base micro and running around the ramp tends to work, and just remove the possibility of accidentally clicking on it. Which could be a bad time if you suddenly have 30 Zerglings just stop to attack the plates. The unbuildable bricks. Early maps, I'm pretty sure, also tried to, like, pretend that it wasn't just, like, it was part of the map, as it does actually force the drone death there. Not often they actually kill off the Spore Crawler. Zerglings do get on top of these Adepts, forced to run back now just in case they do complete the shade. They do not. The Overlord getting a good peek at front door, just, I'm guessing, hoping to spot that particular Adept leave, go anywhere. Not going to have any such luck. And Adepts reveal a few creep tumors for the... Sorry. The Oracles reveal a few creep tumors for the Adepts to kill. Oracles are now going to fly in. They are going to run headlong into a pair of Queens and leave. Meanwhile, the Adepts having a peek around, trying to catch some Zerglings out, and going to come in from a different angle this time. The Adepts, the Oracles, going to be enough to deal with these Zerglings. Is going to try and focus down. Does manage to force the cancel on that hatchery. 3 of the Adepts make it out. So he loses 2 Adepts for a cancel on the 4th. Not terrible. Not terrible. Not the best trade in the world either, obviously, but could be an awful, awful lot worse. Got a couple of Stalkers now. Still hasn't cleared the pylon, the pillar here of Zerg. Oh, you can see it. Okay. Finally cleans that out. However, probably enough information there for Reynor to say, yeah, I think he's putting down a 4th. Especially since he's created the Adept pocket. Revelation going down in the main. He is indeed able to confirm that it is a main. Does spot the Baneling nest, which is relevant. That's actually good to know. For ShoWTimE. He's pushing Reynor back into... Yeah, just good queen count here can make these Stalkers not able to do a huge amount. Does he have Blink? He does have Blink. And he's getting a Dark Shrine and a Robo. Yeah, he's just doing the just Protoss things of getting all of the tech. Just, if it exists, build it. Almost campaign levels of tech. Meanwhile, the Oracles will continue giving a poke around. This creep highway through the middle of the map is starting to get to a bit of a concerning point. Reynor, yeah, okay, he is gonna clean up a chunk of that. Zergling's not gonna be able to do anything at this 3rd base, I think. You're gonna take a lot more than that number of Zerglings to do much of anything there. 5 Queens all inject the same hatchery. That one's not gonna need an inject for a little while. Large number of Zerglings. Either spotted or stuck. Not a huge amount here for ShoWTimE to face off. What do we got? We got 10 Stalkers, 4 Adepts. Yeah, he's gonna need a good disruptor hit here, I think. Somehow. 15 Roaches, 5 Ravagers, and a bunch of Zerglings. As a matter of fact, Reynor is just going to try and bust straight through here, and ShoWTimE might just not have quite enough to deal with all of this. Zerglings don't quite make it into the mineral line yet. Shield battery overcharge goes down, however, it is now unpowered. All of 20 workers have gone down. And ShoWTimE has had enough. He wants to have a beer. He's gonna be watching the rest of HomeStoryCup from the sidelines, and Reynor will move on. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have made it to the end of this marathon, well done. I know I'm asking a lot after you've watched all of that, but if you could hit that like button, maybe subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment if you've actually made it here, because that would be amazing. And I hope to see you all again next time. Goodbye.